Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and hey, welcome back. It's been a while since we've seen you, but this is the Mustang Bronco Sports Express. I'm your host, Ryan Booth, and as always, once again, joined by the incomparable one, Mr. Chris Tobler. Chris, it is great to be back. Good to see you.
A lot of wonderful things to talk about.
Well, I don't know if you can see all this, but yeah, I've got, once again, stacks and stacks of things to go through, and that's, again, we talk about it each and every time we are on the air. That's one of the things that makes Mustang athletics and Mustang just schools in general so wonderful. So again, just lots of things going on, lots to get into, and it's been a while since we've been with everybody, but we have good reasons for not being on the air. We didn't just decide I don't want to work tonight. A couple weeks ago, the event center was in full swing once again for basketball, but the Oklahoma Girls Basketball Coaches Association was having all-state tryouts, I guess you'd say, but all those lots of basketball players in here angling, trying their best to earn those all-state honors, and they were using all the facilities. And then after that, we kind of all sat down and started talking about how things going, because this is the first year for this. We've kind of and this came out of doing Coach Blankenship's weekly football show and just we wanted to have the opportunity to shine the spotlight not just on football, but with everything else that we've got going on here in Mustang.
And, we've got some good ideas to make this better, make it more consistent. And I think, our listeners and viewers will be really excited about some ideas we have moving forward to make it more accessible. We're going to incorporate more guests, but sometimes, especially in a year that's unprecedented, it's hard to put things together. But we're happy to be together tonight. I know I am. I'm excited.
Give everybody a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. I think the thing I'm most excited about is the opportunity of being back on location.
Yes.
Not this past season, but the year before, we were fortunate to have Coach Blank's show at Mazzio's here in Mustang. Oh, I tell you, that's one of my favorite things. I love talking to Coach Blankenship. I mean, and he's one of those that after we get done with the show, you talk about, I'd run through a wall for that guy. I feel better about myself. I feel better about the people around me and things. Not only is he an amazing football coach, but he is just, I told somebody today, we were actually talking about it, he is just an outstanding human being. And he's more than just a coach of football. He's a coach of men, of people. And if I had a son that played football, he is the kind of guy that I would want my kid to play for, because it goes so much more beyond the X's and O's. And if you haven't had a chance, then make sure, once next football season rolls around, or if you get a chance to talk to Coach Blankenship or hear him speak, you will definitely be better for it.
He had some really good mentors growing up, but we're really fortunate, to have him. And the team has dealt with some tragedy recently, and he's just been a great leader and a calming force. Last year really didn't go the way we expected it to, but anytime you beat UConn twice, especially beating them in the playoffs, won a playoff game, we're just going to continue to get better and better. And we're seeing that in a lot of sports, just a continued improvement. We're going to talk about boys basketball.
Well, we'll just start there. So we'll kind of go all the way back. I know it seems like it's been a long time since basketball season was here, but you talk about in boys basketball, they come up just short of the state tournament. And for us, it would have been, I believe, the first time in Mustang history that we would have had the guys and the girls qualify for the state tournament in the same year. And it was almost right there.
We were one game away from the boys making the state tournament. I was there at Edmond Memorial, sit by Superintendent Charles Bradley. We couldn't talk after the game because we were yelling so much. But we played a really athletic, talented,
what a team.
Older Santa Fe team. And if you look at the youth of Mustang boys basketball, the next couple of years, they're going to make some noise.
Yeah. Well, and
Scott Hodges did a tremendous job.
Well, and you said it all season long that he's done an outstanding job, and he did it once again this year, maximizing the talent. And I think, if you talk to a coach, obviously they have a plan for that season, but they also have a long-term plan.
Sure.
And I think, in my opinion, they're a little bit ahead of schedule.
I agree.
So, looking forward to big things from Coach Hodges and the guys next year, and it'll be here, before we know it. And
I knew we were going to improve, but we improved far more
Yeah.
than I expected, as you said, and that's really exciting because, Mustang's a basketball town. This is important to our community, and both boys and girls teams, are thriving. Girls had a great season.
Girls, an outstanding season. They qualify for state, and then they ran into probably outside of the Norman Tigers, probably the hottest team at that time in Bixby. And just, some nights it just doesn't go the
Was
way
it Union
that
or Bixby?
Or sorry, Union, yeah, Tulsa Union.
It doesn't matter. They're east side. We get them confused.
It was Bixby that kind of snuck in
they
there,
did.
I think, and at the end and stuff. But Bixby goes on a run, and stuff. But against Tulsa Union, and it was just one of those nights,
sure,
and it just didn't go.
But again, like the boys team, girls basketball was really young. And we're going to return basically everybody, some great playmakers, and I think we're going to be better next year.
Should be, and we'll talk about the guys and girls. The COAC conference honors were handed out here just about a week or so ago. But on the boys' side, first teamer in Jacoby Johnson, no doubt dual sport athlete. He's already got a handful of D1 offers for football, basketball, all those kind of things. But he's joined second team by Ethan Scott. So, and then this one right here just shows the improvement that these guys have made, because honorable mention, if you told me at the beginning of the season Jacob Henderson would have been an honorable mention all-conference player, I'm not sure I would have been able to get, nothing against Jacob, I just don't know if I would have been able to get on that. But the growth, both physically, but really just the maturity in him on the basketball court was just phenomenal this year. So
proud of him, and it's all due to his personal goal of getting better and working hard, and of course at the guidance of his coaches and his parents. And I had Jacob when I was a building administrator at one of our intermediate schools. He's a great kid, maybe the most improved athlete across the board
probably
in Mustang, and that's saying a lot.
Well, and we talked about it when I saw him at the beginning of the season, I didn't think it was the same kid. I mean, just physically, and then again, just the transformation. Really, but he's young to the game. He's young himself, and he's growing and still learning. And then joined by another young man that I thought really kind of started to step into his own spotlight this year was C.J. Young. So a lot of really good things from C.J. So those four young men with all-conference honors. And then on the girls' side, hey, a big one for Mustang, newcomer of the year, Randy Harding. She steps in, and immediately the fact that she's able to even just crack the starting five with the group that was here shows you what kind of player she is. And then she's joined 2 second-team performances this year for Miss Talia Pogai and then Carly Johnson.
Well deserved.
And then another one that sometimes I just wish she'd shoot the ball more. One, Miss London Foreman, she gets an honorable mention nod as well, because, I mean, more often than not, when she lets it fly from long range, it's going in.
Yeah, and she's getting coached at home.
Yeah.
From her dad. Her sister was a great shooter, now playing college soccer. Elise is a fan favorite, and I think we're going to be better next year, Ryan. I really do. I'm excited. Yeah,
and then the last thing really for basketball, and I'm sure if you talk to athletic director, Robert Foreman, and then Coach Bass and Coach Hodges, these is probably one of the things they would be most proud of. But both teams, boys and girls, were awarded from the OSSAA the Distinguished Academic Achievement Award. So
that's all about.
That just shows you they're getting it done in the classroom and on the court, and that's just kind of the way we do things out here in Mustang. We don't expect anything less than our student athletes' best, not just on the playing field or the court, but in the classroom as well. So a successful basketball season. Congratulations to all of them. And again, we look forward to basketball. And then kind of going back into the winter sports, I know you're excited to talk about this one because still lots of news on the wrestling front with Coach Piccolo and his guys. So state, it's individual state or team state, however you want to call it, didn't quite go the way that we had wanted it to. Kind of ran into some tough matchups along the way. But
we weren't our best.
No.
Coach Piccolo would admit that.
But if you ask those guys, they didn't – I think instead of that kind of they're never going to hang their heads. There's those guys just they aren't built that way. But it would have been easy for them to just kind of feel like, okay, now what? Well, they did say that. They said now what? And they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to go win dual state.
And it was a Hollywood ending.
Hollywood ending. Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. So they go up to Enid. They run through dual state, and I've got some notes here. So quarterfinals, they match up against Choctaw. They win that one 63-18, just dominate Choctaw in that. Then they wrestle Edmond North in the semis. Edmond North wrestled, I believe it was Tulsa Union for their qualifier. Edmond North beat them 78-0. First off, if you qualify for dual state, you're one of the top eight teams anyways. So Mustang has to wrestle a team that just beat a top 8 team 78-0. They come away with that win, a 35-24 match. So good duel between those two teams right there. And then they wind up against Bixby, who, we said it in girls basketball, they kind of snuck in, but they actually upset Stillwater late in the season to knock Stillwater out of the dual state and take that spot. So, they're looking for a Cinderella run, and Mustang comes out with a 45-22 win and claims the 2021 dual state championship. And if you haven't seen it, and we heap praise on this young man all the time, but it's well deserving. One, Mr. Tate Piccolo, he's injured.
He competed on one leg.
Multiple, injuries in that knee. And I believe the phrase was when talking about it was that this goal for this team was more important to him than any future success he might have. Mm-hmm. So he tapes it up and gets out there and wrestles on one leg.
And wins
his match and helps push, propel Mustang onto a dual state championship. So it just shows the mindset that this team had from the very beginning. We've talked about this too. That picture at the beginning of the year, those guys, they kind of took on that Cobra Kai.
Strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
And that was their mantra the whole season. And, so congratulations to Coach Piccolo and all those guys involved with the wrestling team.
And props to you for predicting a dual state championship, in September.
Props
to you for predicting a Norman girls, basketball state championship.
Yeah, and I meant to mention that too. We talked about all the things, but congratulations to Norman on winning that. And we're not going to talk about everything that they went through, but really just congratulations because they're a member of the COAC.
Yes.
And we talked about it, and you especially talked about it, that in girls basketball there is not another group.
Really, any girls sports.
Yeah. When it comes down to the COAC, there's not another group of teams that is as competitive and just
anywhere in the country, I would argue.
The level, the level of teams from top to bottom.
Yes.
It doesn't surprise you night in or night out when any one of those teams beats somebody else if they come out of that COAC. So, congratulations to Norman there. But, and the awards don't stop for wrestling there. So, because I've got it here in front of me, and I want to make sure that I get all of this done correctly. But congratulations to head coach Brian Piccolo. He was the Oklahoma Wrestling Coaches Association 6A Coach of the Year. So, and to win that award with all of the outstanding wrestling coaches that there are, when you look at
it's a wrestling state. We've talked about it.
Stillwater and what Bixby did, it wouldn't have surprised me if their coach Broken Arrow year in and year out stuff. But what Coach Piccolo did with those guys this year, and I'm sure if Coach Pick was with us right now, the first person he's going to give credit to is his incredible wife, Becky. Mm-hmm. She says she is the CEO of Mustang Wrestling. Mm-hmm. So, but, that he's going to share that award.
And he has a great staff and the Oklahoma City Police Department where he works during the day, his day job, tweeted and put something on Facebook that was really complimentary of him, and he deserves all the credit.
Well, and if you watched, I think we actually talked about this, if you watched Big 12 Wrestling on ESPN when they were showing that, he goes from coaching and being an Oklahoma City police officer to being an outstanding commentator on ESPN for Big 12 Championship Wrestling. So, guys, just absolutely incredible there. But it doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. So one more big award, and, really it's probably the most obvious one out of the thing, but senior wrestler of the year obviously goes to
Piccolo.
There you go, Tate Piccolo. And, I mean, just dominating fashion all season. I believe it was in dual state. He had a 10-second pin. 10 seconds.
On one leg.
On one leg. We'll keep throwing that back out there. But,
and we're going to get to see him for years to come at the University of Oklahoma, who shared the Big 12 championship with Oklahoma State. And
and unfortunately for you and I, he chose the Crimson and Cream.
We can cheer for them one match a year whenever.
Whenever they're not. Yeah, we'll cheer for them. And, I mean, again, just to talk about just the amazing. I mean, his brother Cam, who's already at OU, he was a Big 12 all-academic wrestler. I believe he still carries a 4.0. He's majoring in bioengineering or something that I can't even spell, let alone begin to understand. So, Mustang Wrestling is in outstanding hands.
And I didn't mean one match a year. Let me clarify. No. When he wrestles Oklahoma State, I mean, you and I are going to pull for Mr. Piccolo.
Oh, yeah. Any other time.
The sacrifices and work and things he has done, for this program and this high school. Yeah, we're forever a Piccolo fan.
And then I've got just a little bit more of wrestling news, and this is first ever, never happened before here at Mustang. But Mustang, we had our first female wrestling state placer in Mia, and
she came so close.
Yeah, and I believe I'm going to butcher her last name. I want to say Sayard, and I hope that that's right. But she also became Mustang High School's first female All-American wrestler. So this past weekend, she wrestled at USA Nationals and came away with she took 7th place, so finished in the top 10. So she's recognized as an All-American.
And came really close to a state championship.
Yep.
We watched that match here actually in this office, and just so proud of her.
Yeah, I think we actually had state basketball. We had basketball playoffs going on, and we were feeding everybody the information as fast as we could get it on that. So again, that kind of closes the book on basketball and wrestling for this year, but just extremely successful seasons all the way around.
So Brian Piccolo, Coach of the Year, coached a state championship team. We had another coach win a state championship this year, who's also Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year. So who is it? We'll let
Coach
you do
McGarry.
Yep, Coach
Boys cross country.
Coach McGarry, our very first guest ever on the Mustang Bronco Sports Express, and again, just an outstanding, individual. Actually watched boys soccer. Soccer had Teacher Appreciation Night, and they did a Teacher Appreciation video, and Mr. McGarry was named on there by some of those guys, and none of it had to do with anything. They talked about the classroom a little bit, but it was just how he's pushed me to be a better person. He's pushed me to find that next level as an athlete in cross country and track and those kind of things.
He's an institution.
Coach McGarry was named the 2020 and then the USTF CCCA. I'm going to think that's the United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association High School Cross Country Coach of the Year, and now he's up for National Cross Country Coach of the Year. So good luck to Coach McGarry there. But yeah, extremely well-deserved and outstanding individual. And again, we say it all the time. I got that broken record syndrome. It just goes back to show you the outstanding individuals that we have both in the classroom and coaching our student athletes here in Mustang. So Coach McGarry there. But so that kind of rolls us into where we are now, and things have not slowed down.
A lot going on.
One bit. So it's just, golf. Every time I turn around, I see things about girls golf. You've got Macy Walker competing at a super high level for the girls program. They're either on the podium or really near the podium each and every time that they go out and play. Last week on the guys team, Cole Luber, he takes 2nd place at the tournament held over at Lincoln East. So golf is going full swing. Tennis, I can't even keep up with it. I think they are at a tennis tournament every day. There's somebody playing tennis, whether it's...
And it can't be easy in the wind we've been having.
Golf or tennis, either with historic winds and things like that we have had. So golf, tennis, all those kind of things. But I'd be I'd be missed if we didn't spend a little time talking about soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll jump into soccer right now. We'll start with girls soccer. I've got all their information right here. They're 8-3. Coach Riggs, again, she was named a coach of the year for shortened seasons last year and things like that and everything. So
has brought the Lady Broncos to 2 state finals appearances in a row. Should be there again.
Yeah, so lots to go. We've still got soccer to cover, slow pitch, and then baseball, and then kind of just go over just some general information, some things that are going to be happening this summer. So we'll take a short time out, give you and I a chance to catch our breath, and give everybody else watching a little bit of time to rest their ears for just a second. So we'll be right back after this. You're watching the Mustang Bronco Sports Express.
Family first. My dad used to tell us that all the time. But family first wasn't just something he'd say to us. It was how he lived every day of his life. And it's how I try to live mine too.
At Shelter Insurance, our agents are dedicated to helping provide personalized auto, home, and life protection that puts your family first. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Today, I will rise. Opportunity is mine for the taking. No attaboys, no pats on the head, nobody paving the way. Today, I will blaze this trail. No handouts, no looking back. Today, I will win. Because whatever challenge comes my way, the outcome is I overcome. Salazar Roofing, arise and go.
Hey, did we do that termite inspection?
That discount agent said we didn't need to.
House for sale.
Home for sale.
Home for sale.
Home for sale. Home for sale.
We've got a home.
Available now.
Welcome back, everybody. Glad to be with you once again here on the Mustang Bronco Sports Express. So, we've spent 20 minutes talking. We've really haven't even got into the heart of spring sports. We've been trying to wrap up all the winter sports. And before we went to break, we were talking about tennis, and I totally spaced on this. Yeah, the boys' tennis team, some of my notes right here, first place at the Duncan Tennis Tournament, first place at the Western Heights Tournament, and first place at Putnam City North.
Not bad.
So Coach Hurst and those guys have tennis rolling right along over there. But before we went to break, we kind of led in with soccer, and we talked about Coach Riggs and everything that's going on with girls soccer right now. Again, they're 8-3, had a really nice win over a scrappy U.S. Grant team the other night and stuff. But before that, you run through again, and you talked about the COAC conference on the girls' side. I mean, when you look at the other teams that they've got to go up against here in Mustang's division in soccer, they're sitting right now in second place. And really that's just kind of by percentage points, because Southmore at 7-2 and Mustang now at 8-3. So, Coach Riggs and the ladies out there, they're just continuing what they've done. You said Coach Riggs taking them to 2 straight state finals, and there's a very good chance they could wind up there again this year as far as with girls soccer. So if you are free in an evening and you want to see some outstanding soccer both on the girls and guys side, get out to the Mustang soccer pitch. And to check out all of our spring sports schedules, make sure and head to @MHS Bronco Sports. That's on Twitter. That'll get you there, or just MHS Bronco Sports, the website. It's got all the schedules. Get out and catch soccer. And then on the boys' side and the stuff, I kind of had my notes here backwards. What Coach Homer and the guys are doing on the boys' side is making up for the opportunity that they did not get last season. And unfortunately, they had a handful of guys that, graduated and had to move on. But I think those guys have said, hey, we're going to do this for us and for those guys that didn't get a chance, because what's happening this year is what was expected last year. But Coach Homer and the guys right now are sitting at 11-0. They are the only undefeated team in 6A. So, and in their district, they're in District 6A too. The next team right behind them is U.S. Grant at 7-2.
Close game last night.
And they just defeated, so they've widened that margin a little bit between. Yeah, it was a 1-0 game. U.S. Grant puts a great product out for soccer, but you roll through and you look at some of these scores. I mean, they're winning games 7-0, 6-1, 6-0, 5-0, 7-0, and then you sprinkle in some of those more traditional soccer scores, 1-0 and things like that. But Coach Homer and the guys, they are definitely worth the price of admission if you get a chance to get out and see them. And then I just actually found this out today, but according to, let's see which ranking agency this is right here. This would be the United Soccer Coaches. Mm-hmm. So they work with Max Preps. That's also who hands out the weekly Player of the Week awards here in the state. But according to them, they are ranked, we'll say it's in the top 10. I'll give you one guess as to where they are ranked nationally right now.
I can tell you where they should be. They should be at number 1, but
tell
us where they are.
They're the number 2 ranked team in the nation.
It's unbelievable.
So, again, and Oklahoma is becoming a soccer state a little bit. It's growing.
The youth leagues are really thriving right now, and we're seeing the end result. I think it really caught on about 20 years ago, and we're seeing the end result with so much involvement at the high school level. And, of course, club teams are huge.
Yeah, well, and when we had Coach Homer on a while back, he talked about that. But just the growth of soccer, has really exploded. And for a team from Oklahoma that doesn't have a huge soccer history, we've put some really good teams on the field before, but for them to be recognized as the second-ranked team in the nation just shows the caliber of soccer that is growing here, not just in Oklahoma, but even closer to home right here in Mustang. But again,
and Coach Homer was a great interview a couple of weeks back when we had him.
You can see his passion and his love for soccer, but also teaching and coaching the game of soccer to those guys. So, but again, congratulations to Coach Riggs and everything that's going on with girls soccer. And again, boys soccer right now is in a word, is dominating. And we talked about that Max Preps and United Soccer Coaches Association hand out weekly awards, Player of the Week. Mustang garnered another award. We've talked a lot about awards here, but last week, Brody Massey was named Player of the Week. And he really, in what Coach Homer described as an ugly game against Westmore, he scores the only goal in that game, and they come away with a 1-0 win against a tough Westmore team who is in their district. So that's even that much more important to continue to get those district wins. So congratulations to Brody on his Player of the Week award that was just announced just a few minutes before we came on the air as well. So anything else about soccer?
No, it's a great environment. I encourage our viewers and listeners to make it out, but you better get there early because seats fill up fast, and it's just a really fun high school environment. I think it's the best soccer atmosphere at the high school level in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Fans right there at the edge of the field. It's one of the few natural grass surfaces. We have a dedicated soccer facility here in Mustang. So many schools having to play on their football field, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but it helps create that environment, and I think it makes those athletes and those kids playing soccer feel like it's even more important to us that we give them an actual facility that is theirs that they can go and play on. And it does. Coach Homer talked about it. It creates a little bit of a home field advantage. You learn the slopes and the bumps and things like that, so that come with playing on a natural grass field. So again, just another example of the excellence here in Mustang. So next up on the list right now, and I know you keep a little bit more of an eye on this than I do, partly because my attention is divided a little bit more with baseball, but Coach Darity and slow pitch softball, I mean, I'll admit not as educated on slow pitch softball, but I look through this. Chris, these look like football scores. It cracks me up. Well, there's
home run derby.
There's one right here against Westmore back in March. Mustang came away with the win.
32-22.
32-22. And so, but yeah, it is home run derby, I think, is a good way to describe it. But
those young ladies have played by far the toughest schedule in Oklahoma. They're 12-6. They defeated number 4 Jinx very handily yesterday.
16-9.
Expect them to continue to move up in the rankings. You really want to be in the top 8 once postseason hits. And I think they're going to be just fine, and they're just continuing to get better, and this will really pay dividends into the fall when we start fast pitch season. So it's a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, they're sitting, like you said, 12-6 right now, and they still have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, looks like 12, 13 games left to play before you even get into postseason tournaments and stuff like that. I mean, those girls are playing. So, again, yeah, sitting right there at number 7, but a big win over the number 4 ranked.
I think they'll move
Jinx,
into the top 5 on Monday.
Trojans right there. And then I'm fortunate that I get to see Coach Patterson and the baseball guys every time they play at home, as I get to do the PA announcing for that. And, man, they had an incredible game last night. Baseball 11-7 on the season. Again, it was a district game and a bounce-back game against Mustang. Hosted Edmond Santa Fe.
Defending 6A state champions.
Yep, and they had lost. Yeah, God, I completely forgot about that. And that team last night, that Santa Fe team, they are fundamentally sound. 1 through 9 can hit the baseball. So Monday night, Mustang kind of stubbed our toe a little bit, 9-2. It was a really close ball game until late, and then just kind of some things happened and made some uncharacteristic errors. But Chance Cox on Monday night pitched just an amazing game. Double-digit strikeouts through 6 innings, I believe it was. Was just throwing darts all night long. But then, not to be outdone, we get Santa Fe here last night, and Braden Jones takes the mound. And off to a little bit of a rough start, got down a couple runs. Mustang battles right back, and then comes away with the 4-2 win. And there was a number of times in that game where it would have been real easy for the guys to let it get away from them again. But, man, Braden Jones and then the defense behind him, when they needed a double play, they got a double play. So, Coach Patterson has just – I think he's brought a different air about this team. They play with just this quiet confidence. And, very rarely do you see them get rattled as an individual or as a team. And it's really, really fun to watch them play, because even when they do get down, you know that they're going to do whatever they need to get right back in the ball game. And so they've got a big stretch coming up against them. They play at home this Friday night, just a single game against Enid. So again, Coach Patterson and the guys trying to get as many games under their belts, as they prepare for postseason, because I know regular season is important, but they've got their eye on getting into the postseason. And then
all it takes is getting hot.
And we saw that just a few years ago.
We have, and really every state champion in 6A baseball for the last, 6-7 years has been a team that no one predicted, but just got hot at the right time and got it done. The state tournament's now single elimination. Used to be double elimination. So the variables have changed, and it's benefited a lot of teams that have kind of flown under the radar.
Yeah, well, and with that single elimination, it changes the way that you've got to set up your pitching rotations and things like that. And, you're struggling in a game. Gone are the days of, if we lose this one, that's okay. You got to bring a kid in to maybe pitch that you'd planned on starting the next day or things like that. So that single elimination format has changed, and you've just got to get hot and get on a little bit of a run, and big things can happen. But want to push real quick, Saturday afternoon, if you are free, get out to Bronco Stadium here on the campus of Mustang High School. Should be an entertaining game, because it will be the first matchup between Mustang and Westmore. So 1 o'clock, first pitch. Coach Patterson's former school, Westmore, they're getting together for one game this season. They didn't get to play last year, so a little bit of time between him leaving Westmore and this game, but
a lot
still
of storylines.
Still storylines and things like that. And so it should be a really, really good game against an outstanding Westmore team. So, but baseball, again, doing a great job. They're sitting right at the top of their division. So they're in 6A2, right there with Mustang, Yukon, Choctaw, Santa Fe, Moore, Putnam City North, and Lawton. So some good ball teams right there. And Yukon right there behind us. And I'll go ahead and say it, where they belong, right there behind us. I'll never miss the opportunity to throw that in there and stuff. So, but that, I mean, that's a whirlwind of everything that's going on right now in Mustang Athletics.
I have really complimented you tonight, and you have yet to compliment me on picking the men's national champion.
I was hoping we would run out of time. I'm hoping we would get the wrap it up signal from Brody, our outstanding producer, engineer, technical wizard, whatever you want to call.
I can get lucky too sometimes in making predictions.
There was a group of us that kind of all worked together. We had a friendly, hey, let's just do this for fun.
Just for bragging rights.
NCAA tournament, and you were the only one that picked the eventual national champion, the Baylor Bears. When you look through, I believe there was like 13 of us in there. There was one Mr. Chris Tobler with Baylor. And then there were 11 people, I think, or 10 people that picked Gonzaga. There was one knucklehead that picked Iowa somehow. And then I'll go ahead and take the knucklehead label as well. I just went ahead and picked with my heart. I thought they'd get hot and get on a run.
Like Syracuse in 02 or something.
Down there on the bottom, I rode Cade Cunningham and the OSU Cowboys to a little bit of an earlier exit than I had hoped for and stuff. But again,
I had fun tonight.
We did.
It was good to be back.
Great to be back. Looking forward to a lot of the changes again that we talked about, with our group that works together on this. Super excited about some of the changes and the opportunities that are coming. Looking forward to getting the chance to be back on location, having people come and live audience and stuff like that. It's really fun to do that. And then one last thing real quick. Hey, Winter Sports Homecoming. So it's going to be April 20th. We're going to do winter and spring homecoming together at the same time. It'll be halftime of the boys' soccer game. We host Edmond North that night, so 2 outstanding soccer games that night, and then we get to celebrate winter and spring homecoming. And then we've got basketball camps coming up. We've got Metro Team Camp for football. We've got Summer Pride for all of our student athletes here. So for all of that, go to mustangbroncos.org. You can find that information. You can call the athletic department here. And then for anything football related, go to characterleaderscamps.com. You can find all the information about Summer Pride. And that's our summer workout program. It starts kindergarten up through seniors. Coach Blankenship and all those guys do an outstanding job with that. But again, hey, for a great follow on Twitter, hit @ChrisTobler82. You never know what you're going to get.
My tweets are my own.
And there's some great little nuggets.
Potpourri of information
that filter through there. But again, to keep up with everything that is Mustang High School athletics, follow @MHS Bronco Sports on Twitter and Instagram. And then, hey, if you're really bored, you can follow me. It's @MHS Broncos Voice. That's my Twitter. That's just everything Mustang related for all that we've got going on here. So, Chris, it was great to be back with you. Brody, we don't ever get to see you, but appreciate all you do. Is glad to see you again. And then hopefully it won't be 2 or 3 weeks before we are on the air again. But to keep up with our schedule, again, go to @MHS Bronco Sports on Twitter. All that gets tweeted out. So hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Look forward to seeing you again hopefully next week. But if not, hey, we'll be ready whenever the phone rings and they say, let's do a show, guys. So again, from all of us here at Mustang High School and the Mustang Bronco Sports Express, we appreciate you tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We had a great time bringing it to you. And Chris, like we always say around here, go Broncos.